Emma Watson is a young British actress and became the ambassador of the UN Women Goodwill in 2013. She delivered the now pretty famous speech concerning the He for She campaign about gender equality, the 20th September 2014 at the UN headquarters in New York City. And if one should fill out the rhetorical pentagram about Emma Watson's He for She speech, the topic would obviously be gender equality, where the writer, of course, would be Emma Watson, who is, again, the ambassador of the UN Women Goodwill, and the reader or listeners or audience, whatever, they would be the UN. And her language is very professional, it's pretty variated, and most importantly, it's formal, which is perfect, really, for her readers, audience, whatever. Yeah, I have two examples for this, where galvanize is one of them, and tangible is another one. Those words you never really hear, like, in daily conversations. Yeah. So, Emma Watson's speech is actually perfect considering the circumstances, since there is this campaign about gender equality that started in 2013. And there's still this huge inequality in especially the third world, as well as our own, actually. And her intention is therefore to encourage the members of the UN to join the campaign and be active, men as well as women. Emma Watson basically tries to convince the representatives with many arguments, and her main argument is actually about feminism, where she talks about how it has this negative cling to it and tries to make it more positive by defining it and coming with like many examples of what feminism has done to the once man-dominated world, which can be seen right here, where she talks about that, exactly what feminism is by definition, and also down here where she's like, this is equality for me. That's what she kind of explains. Quotes such as these are, well, really strong, since they defend feminism against the skeptical man, I guess. And also Emma Watson, she supports her arguments with many rhetorical and stylistic devices. I'll now use just the first page like I did before that as a starting point in this analysis, since I experienced earlier that it gets a bit too confusing rolling up and down the pages. Anyways, she uses the device called anaphora, or repetition. I didn't really see the difference between those, but you might enlighten me someday. But yeah, it's actually pretty often used. She uses it right here, where she's like, when at blah blah blah, when at blah blah blah, when at blah blah blah. And also down here, where she talks about I think, like she repeats herself, and it kind of gets reader to like really get what she's trying to tell. And also she uses rhetorical questions, such as this one, why is the word such an uncomfortable one? Where she's like, I want the reader to think about that question. And also she uses lighties, since I personally think it's quite an understatement to call feminism an unpopular word, especially when it's followed by the description down here, where she describes a feminist herself, basically, how she's seen. And at the end, my view on the speech is that it's well spoken. It makes me feel like I have to do something about like the gender equality, and I also think that you can as well feel the fire in her when she talks about this case, and like you can almost see the enthusiasm and sympathy in her eyes. And I think it's very convincing, and she's a good speaker, obviously, since she's an actress. And like especially the way that she personalized it and talked about inequality in her childhood and how she was judged because she felt like different about some things in her early years. Um, yeah, but like in general, I think it's a good speech that reaches out to a lot of people.